Hi, I'm Woo Ming Jin, the director of The Fox King.
Okay, so let's start with that. The film just premiered in Toronto. How was the reception there? How did people saw the film?
It was great. We world premiered in the Toronto International Film Festival in the centerpiece section. I think the premiere went really well. We had our lead actress and lead actor present. The film is a coming-of-age story. It's quite accessible, I think. Played really well. I think there was laughter, tears, and we were very happy with the reception so far.
And tell me a bit about the story. How did you come up with it?
So The Fox King is a coming-of-age story about these two fraternal twins. They're growing up in this coastal town in Malaysia during a time before cell phones, social media, and it's basically about these two brothers growing up and how their lives are affected when a new teacher, played by the Indonesian superstar Dian Sastrowardoyo, becomes their English teacher. So it deals with issues such as bullying, first love, grief, basically all the adolescent issues that we all encounter growing up. So these are basically, for me, things that I grew up experiencing, and I wanted to portray these things in a film.
So you had such relationship with your father as the kid?
Well, not necessarily. Yeah. So of course, it's a fictional film, but I'm a twin myself. So I'm an identical twin.
Really?
In the film, it's a fraternal. So my father is better than the father portrayed in the film. But the father, basically in the movie, the two brothers get abandoned by their father after the father remarries. And they sort of have to fend for themselves and sort of find their way in the world. For the most part, when I grew up in the 90s as well, we had to sort of find, our way in the world ourselves. I mean, both our parents were working really, really hard, and I barely saw my dad actually. So, but he, he was a good dad. It's just he's just very busy working. So I wanted to sort of portray this sort of time of innocence. I think it's a very precious time, especially now with the internet and with everything. It's so precious to actually be untainted by all these influences from others. So it's a very nostalgic to me, it's a very nostalgic kind of feeling, and I wanted to portray that in The Fox King.
And tell me a bit about this character, this father character. You portray him as a real villain. So how would you describe him?
Well, Budi, it's strange when we screened this film in Toronto. I had a lot of Asian Americans of all kinds, Indian Canadians or Pakistanis, or basically ethnic Asian people who came up to me after the screening saying that I could totally relate to the father, and I had Indonesians as well that said, the character is very realistic. So I don't want to say it's basically the character of Budi, the father in the film, is it's sort of like a generalization or a stereotype of like a bad father character, and he is a bad father. And sometimes I think you have to live with the cards you're dealt with, and in this case, the two brothers have to just live with what they're dealt with, and in this case, it's a bad father. And I wouldn't say he's a villain. I'd say he's sort of a flawed character, and in that sense, the father character being so flawed sort of forces the boys, especially Ali, the bigger brother, to he just has to just do what he can, make do with what he can. And he sort of sometimes is forced to make decisions of his that I don't think he would have made if he didn't, if his dad wasn't such an asshole. And his character is an asshole.
Yeah. So his arc, the father's arc, but also the character Dian's plays arc. So I thought it was there is a crime and punishment aspect, is what I thought. So tell me a bit about that. Was that a comment you wanted to make?
So, you know, part of the film, part of growing up is that sometimes the people we look up to, or sometimes the people we think are heroes, they end up disappointing us. And in The Fox King, many times the main character's name is Ali. Ali goes through the film basically losing his father and then having father figure and then sort of having this crush on his new teacher, who not to say becomes a mother figure, but becomes aspirational to him, but also disappoints him. So we, you know, as adolescents growing up, I wanted to portray that not all adults are reliable. Not all, even your teacher can, won't maybe show you the right path. And Dian's character, she plays Miss Lara, the new class teacher. I wanted to portray her as sort of like an unhinged, sort of an unstable character herself, a very flawed character. So she is idyllic to the boys, but they'll realize that she is not perfect and she's totally flawed just like them as well. So that's something I wanted to portray in the film, that you cannot rely on adults.
Okay. And talking about Ali, so when the teacher appears, there is this jealousy that he feels about his brother. But as time passes, I also thought that he's feeling like he's losing his role as the protector of the brother.
Correct.
So is that what you wanted to say?
Absolutely. So the film starts out with Ali being the bigger brother, taking care of Amir. And Amir is a special person in the sense that he has a special way to communicate. He only communicates through certain words, specifically words of animals. So he'll say fox, he'll say frog or monkey or rabbit, and they mean something that only Ali understands. So that's what makes the two brothers very close together. And at the start of the film, the bond between the both of them, Ali being the older brother, he's sort of the caretaker of Amir. But when Miss Lara comes into the picture, that does get disrupted. And Ali does feel, for the first time, they were very close together and suddenly somebody comes and split them apart. When they're dealing with problems with the father, they were always banded together by force. But now with the teacher, suddenly that sort of bond gets fractured, and it's a new feeling for Ali's character. Like, what's happening? He's confused himself. Like, he loves his brother, but yet he feels like this jealousy, And I think, being a twin, I went through these feelings, for better or for worse. And it's a very confusing period. And it's like, like you said, he was a protector, but now does he wish ill of his brother? And that's, I don't want to give the film away, but that's that whole arc in the film that explores, these fragile moments in a teenager's life.
And tell me a bit more about Dian's character. It's two characters into one inside the classroom and one outside, right?
So, Dian's character, basically, as I mentioned, she's come back to Malaysia. She's half Indonesian, half Malaysian, and she's come back after spending some time in Canada. And she has a darker history, a past that she's trying to escape. And she, she's a good teacher, a strict teacher in the classroom, but also a little unconventional, a little unhinged, and definitely to Malaysian educational standards, definitely not at times not appropriate and not conventional. So, but at the same time, there's another side of her. So I wanted to portray someone who is sort of who almost disassociates. Sometimes she doesn't know who she is. Sometimes she acts like a child. Sometimes she is, she doesn't act as a child. So it's this sort of unpredictable, this sort of character that attracts Ali to her, and later on, he'll see that there are flaws in her that he has to rely on himself. I think that's sort of the lesson that Ali learns in the film.
But I'm also curious, does she essentially flirt a bit with the other brother?
Sure. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, she is not aware of what she is doing. You know, she just is herself. And I think she doesn't have the kind of boundaries that a teacher normally has to his or her students. So, you know, in life, we meet a lot of people, you know, in that manner. They don't have strict boundaries. Some people have, you know, strong boundaries. Some people don't. And it's you know, as a very colorful character, she doesn't. I think she doesn't, you know, differentiate between, oh, this person is my student, this person, you know. So I think that's part of the fun of sort of crafting her character. Yeah.
And tell me a bit, how did you manage to land Dian, let's say, and how was your cooperation with her?
Getting her as an actress, yeah. I mean, she, you know, we sent her the script and she loved it, and she was really enamored by the character, and I think she saw it as an opportunity to play somebody a little different, slightly less conventional, a little darker, and she was totally gung ho about it, and you know, she totally was a trooper, and I think she embraced it. The character being a little bit off, a little bit unpredictable, especially to her fans who are used to her, to see her in, you know, in certain kind of these romantic roles or these more serious roles. So, and we talked a lot about how she is, and Dian absolutely got the character, and yeah, you know, a great time shooting with her, and the kids were big fans. The two actors, the two boys, were big fans of her. So, you know, it was like, in some ways, they didn't have to act that they were infatuated or in love with her, because they were infatuated with her already.
Okay, and but in general, when you have like a big celebrity like that in your production, does she shapes the film in a way? Would you say, like?
I wouldn't say so. I mean, you know, you know, our production is quite modest in many ways, and she knew that we are shooting on location, which means that we're shooting on a beach. We're shooting like on some very difficult, very hot and islandish kind of. I think there was a couple of scenes we were on an island. We had to take a boat, small boat. But Dian was down for all of that. So there was no like, we didn't have a trailer or anything like that, and she was cool, you know. So it was a good experience on both our you know, both me and the other actors, and for Dian as well.
And how did the casting for the boys work?
Well, for the lead actor Ali, I have known him since he was 12 years old. I've casted him in a movie and some shorts, some commercials before. So I've known him since he was a child, and as I was writing the role, I already had him in mind. For Amir, his brother, we did an audition, and we did a chemistry read. So we auditioned a whole bunch of kids, and then, you know, we went through the regular way where we shortlisted a few people, and then we have a chemistry read with Ali. So to ensure that there is some chemistry to it, you know, with the both brothers. And, you know, they didn't know each other at the start, but then they got to know each other, and now they are like good friends.
Yeah. Okay. And about Amarul Effendi, how did you? Okay, I guess he's your friend, but how did?
Yes, so Amirul, like, who plays the father, you know, I've known him for a while now, and he plays, you know, this, I would say this bad, you know, like you could say, I wouldn't say call him a villain, but a flawed character, playing the father of both Ali and Amir, and I think he did a good job, you know, portraying that character. In some ways, the audience not liking him makes the film successful.
Yeah. I think it's his face also a bit, like he has the face of a villain.
I'm not going to say that, but yeah, he's got a character face.
Okay, and tell me a bit about the location. Where was the film shot?
Well, we shot the film, okay, well, the Fox King basically is, I wanted to make this film that is a throwback to a period of time where I grew up. And when I'm the Ali and Amir's age at 15, 16, we used to go to these beaches and islands. Every school holiday, I would take a bus. I lived in the city, but about 4 or 5 hours away. We would take a bus to these islands and we'd spend a week. Sometimes we would skip school to go and hang out and camp and swim and fish and just hang out by the beach. So I did that a lot since I was a child, 14, 15, 16. We didn't even tell our parents. My parents would be like, "Where did you go these last 4 days?" "Oh yeah, we went to the island." And I would go with my school friends, and I wanted to portray this nostalgic sense of innocence. You'll meet a girl sometimes, and I went to a boys' school. So obviously, when we had a female teacher, you have this like, and sometimes the female teacher is younger. She was in her 20s or 30s, and you have this, because we had no other girls in our school. So I wanted to portray that sort of feeling. And of course, I shot it in the east coast of Malaysia with these beaches, the same beaches that I went to as a kid. And I am quite familiar with it. Has it changed the last 20, 30 years? It has in some ways, but in many ways, it hasn't. So some of these places are sort of, I would say, trapped in time. And it's almost the same place that I went to, I shot my last film, Stone Turtle, in as well. But this is a slight, there were some other locations that we used. But it's a location that I have very fond memories of. I still go there when I'm back in Malaysia as well.
And also there is this aspect of smuggling people in the film. Tell me a bit about that. Is it still happening? Or how
Oh, absolutely. There is some small social issues involving forced labor, and it's an issue that not only Malaysia deals with, but I think in all of Asia. All these scam, they call them scam camps, where they're forced to, people who think they have jobs are forced to work in, as scammers, or people who are foreign workers who are forced to be laborers, it's and Ali's dad does some like smuggling of goods, because there's a lot of counterfeit goods that goes to Thailand, that goes between countries. Not sure where they come from. They come from China. They come from other countries. We have a duty-free island called Langkawi that, for better or worse, has a lot of counterfeit products. So that's a small part of the film as well. Yeah.
And tell me a bit about the cinematography, what you want to do in the visual of the film.
Well, for this film, I wanted a more simple cinematography. It wasn't so much as depicting the. Of course, we wanted to depict the scenic wonders of the beach, but I also wanted more of capturing the feeling of what it's like growing up in a tropical country, where there's always the sun, there's always the ocean nearby. It's always hot. You're always kind of sweating. Even if you're running or whatever, it's always warm outside. So I wanted to portray that sort of a feeling in the film.
And about the editing, I'm also very interested in how you portrayed the scenes with what Ali is thinking, but not happening in reality, what he fantasizes about the teacher.
Yeah. So obviously there's a fantasy element in the film. It's something that I think everyone can relate to, and we took a little bit of reference from Malina, the film with Monica Bellucci, and ours is not so crazy, but Ali's character does fantasize, have these fantasies of his teacher, and of course we wanted to make the fantasy, some of them clear and some of them not as clear. Is he fantasizing, or is he sort of or is this real? So that's sort of what we wanted to show in the film as well.
And in general, in your previous film, this mix between reality and fantasy was more strong, but this time I felt it was the film is tamer, let's say. So why?
Well, in some ways, I wanted to make a more accessible coming-of-age film, and I wanted something that plays to a wider audience, and something that I think it's a little more sentimental in terms of what the emotions that the characters go through, and I wanted to make a film that I think can be embraced more easily in some sense. It's still, the film does still have some dark moments, but for the most part, I think it's an accessible film that general audiences can watch and accept. And so far, I'm not sure about the critics, but general audiences have really embraced it. So I mean, in that sense, I'm very happy. Yeah.
And tell me a bit, how is the industry, the local movie industry at the moment in Malaysia?
I mean, as always, like most other countries, it is a tough situation. With the streaming and theatrical, it's still extremely difficult in Malaysia, which is why, in some ways, we made this film with Indonesia, a co-production. So we at least have two strong markets to basically instead of just one as our primary market. So. Sometimes as filmmakers, you cannot control what the distributors do to your film and how the film is embraced by the larger public. So I'm not really sure how they'll, local audiences, Malaysian audiences will embrace it, or the Indonesian audiences. I think they'll like it in general. As to how wide it'll play, that's something that we'll find out next year when we release it.
So are there plans for release in both countries?
Absolutely. So we, obviously we plan to release the film in the primary in Malaysia and Indonesia. I mean, I'm hoping it'll screen in some form of ways throughout Asia and hopefully in Europe and America. But our main goal is to reach a local and Indonesian audience.
And in general, do you think that having a celebrity helps in that regard?
I think absolutely helps. Having especially for a film like this, we're not a horror film or an action film. We absolutely, I think Dian, being with the status and her reputation, really helps the film in terms of visibility and basically the recognition factor. Just like any other film stars out there.
Yeah. And last question, your next project, you're working non-stop, so what are you doing next?
I have a few projects in development. I have a Chinese language drama, revenge thriller, sort of. It's a slightly more accessible, more commercial film as well. That I'm hoping to work with some Taiwanese or Chinese stars. I have an English language project as well that we're also in the stages of development. So there are a few projects that are ongoing, and I like to keep working because it is my vocation. So and it's the only thing I do. So we hope to shoot it hopefully next year. So we'll see it in 2 years. So it does take a while to mount one of these films, but yeah, we are hard at work at the next film already, and I hope to do an interview with you again, Panos,
Okay.
for the next film.
Great.
I hope you like the next film as well,
Okay.
and I hope I hope audiences will embrace the Fox King, and fingers crossed.
Okay. Well, I guess that's it. Thank you very
Great,
much.
thanks so much. Yeah.